Hey guys, it's me. I'm back. Happy 2026. It's been a while, and there's been some stuff happening that I do want to touch on. I actually had some videos made, but honestly, especially after what happened in Venezuela, I kind of put them to the side because they wouldn't really age that well. And yeah, I'm also trying to focus on the new series that I kind of talked about in my community post thing that I'm doing with Federal Pig. Go subscribe to Federal Pig. Go check him out. He's actually turns out he's my classmate. I didn't actually know that before. So yeah, that's how we kind of contacted, and he'll be the first person in real life to kind of interview me, and it won't be scripted. And I just kind of told him to kind of write his own thing and make it like I just asked him to make it like moderately hard, so I was kind of prepared but like not really at the same time, but whatever. Okay, mainly we're going to talk about um how this current action is going to probably affect the Senate election and possibly the presidential election. So basically, if you somehow didn't know, if you're currently living under a rock, uh, so on January 3rd, and literally when all Americans were asleep, most of them at least, American forces kidnapped and captured Maduro and his wife, and they did it really fast, which is kind of to show how strong our military is, especially when we really plan it out. Like, imagine we friggin' kidnap. We could kidnap anybody, which is kind of weird now that I think about it, considering that we haven't done that before at all that much easily. So this is kind of to show our current military expertise. But anyway, he's probably going to be in jail for life. He's not going to die, I think. He's not going to be put to death. But anyway, the vice president of Venezuela is trying to put a new interim government to trying to reconcile with the U.S. But honestly, the U.S. is just gonna it's just annexing it for now, and I'm pretty sure. I mean, it's most likely. I mean, Trump doesn't really know about this stuff. Like, he's not the expert at this stuff. If I'm gonna be honest. So I'm kind of hoping that Marco Rubio is kind of good negotiator. I'm pretty sure that the opposition leader who actually won last time in the last Venezuelan election is gonna become the next president, and then we're probably gonna have a lot of control over the oil reserves and a lot of the oil industry. It won't be like it might be. Actually, no, forget it. It is totally like Iraq, but it's like closer to the US, which makes it feel closer to home. And it's also filled with. I mean, these are Americans. I mean, Venezuelans are Americans by geography, and like, yeah, it just kind of brings more attention to, especially South America, who is kind of they are really good at avoiding foreign conflicts when you really think about it. But nowadays, it's probably not going to be that way anymore. But how is that going to really affect the current U.S. politics in that way? So I personally think it's not going to be as terrible as Iraq was to Bush, but it will be a little bad for him, especially when we have to occupy it, and there's probably going to be a lot of American deaths, maybe even in the thousands if we kind of really occupy them for a while. But yeah, so that's a problem. But I mean, this is really just going to put more resources away from, I mean, actually, the economy. I think this is probably a last ditch attempt to kind of fix the economy in the way that doesn't mean increasing taxes, cutting stuff, or, you know, that kind of area. And that's kind of their way of trying to put back things together in a way that kind of keeps the establishment, which sucks, by the way. I mean, we're almost at $40 trillion in debt. So that's not really going well, as you could see. But I mean, when you really think about it, what is this really going to do? Sure, it might, and it might. It's probably actually going to increase because there's going to be a lot more scarcity when you really think about it, because we also have to export this stuff. And then countries that we don't export to are not going to export to us, and just whole deal. Oil prices will slightly go down, but also Venezuelan oil is harder to make into the things that we use than American oil, because it's like I forget how it exactly works, but apparently it's like denser than American oil. So because of that, we have to process it, which costs more money, but temporarily it'll be a little boost to the economy, but eventually it's just going to be a sore. It'll probably not show in the Senate elections, but probably show in the presidential elections, which first take of 2026 from my channel, I will predict that one Senate seat will go to the Democrats, and like two or three representatives will go to the Democrats in the midterms. And then for the 2028 election, I'm going to predict that the Republicans will win, but with a slimmer majority, like maybe 290 or something like that, where it's super close and it'll like take days to count. Because honestly, we're in this new political era, and like anything can change, and then there's going to be a lot of voters who are going to shift their minds. Like all those anti-Trumpers will kind of shift their vote a little, even though JD Vance is definitely is always tied to the Trump administration. He'll be a little more appeasing to some of the more of what is left of the anti-Trump Republicans, which is not that much, but it's still something when you really think about it. So I think that JD Vance will probably be able to win, but with a super small majority in the Electoral College. He probably won't even win the popular vote, if I'm being honest, but yeah, that's kind of my take based on what's been happening. So that's gonna be it. If you want to see more videos like this, please subscribe. I'm trying to hit 2,000 before summer starts, because it's the second half of my school year. And yeah, I'll also be trying to get into more than politics when it hits the summer. So if you want to see more of me, more of my analysis, and more Gen Alpha kind of like getting into these politics, please subscribe, view, like my channels, and share to others. Well, that's going to be it, guys. I hope you all had a great New Year's Eve and day. So yeah, I'll see you guys later, probably sooner, with the video that I hope will be a little more popular than one of my latest, than few of my latest ones. Goodbye.